Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depending on where you are, welcome to our regularly scheduled YouTube Live. Today, there's a lot of news going on the Canadian startup visa. But what hasn't been announced? Does the government have a hidden agenda? I'm going to reveal to you today what is really going on internally in IRCC and what they've changed or implemented in terms of their processing of SUV PR cases. This will blow your mind, folks. Even designated organizations don't know what's going on. Have you heard about the K9 team in the SUV IRCC department that processes the PRs? Well, we're going to explore this today, unedited, no special effects, and exposed truth, just like the rest of our YouTube videos. Quick introduction. Who am I? Well, I'm Reza from Ingwe Immigration, licensed immigration practitioner, and our office specializes in helping businesses, professional investors, and families move across borders. Why are we posting this video? Well, it's to share our hands-on immigration knowledge with our worldwide audience, including but not exclusive to existing clients, potential new applicants, and immigration consultancies and agencies across the globe. If you're thinking about immigrating, we're here to help. Get a free email assessment for eligible applicants only. And of course, if you're an active immigration practitioner, we can assist you in outsourcing your back office operations, including assessments, processing, pre and post landing support. More than just Startup Visa Canada, we're a solution provider for Canada, Panama, New Zealand, Portugal, Greece, UK, Dubai, and beyond. Great news with our recent global talent stream approval for a startup tech company here in Ontario. It took 31 calendar days because the employer had asked for an extension to obtain an attestation letter from their CPA/lawyer. The company was hiring a Unity game developer or /VR developer. That was the position. It was the business's first LMIA or global talent stream. It was originally returned to them when they applied on their own. We got involved and the LMI was submitted, or the global talent stream, on May 1st. The interview was held May 14th. There was some pending documentation from the employer, such as attestations, and the final approval came in on May 31st. Typically, it would take much earlier. It would be much faster than this. Okay, let's jump in. Today's focus is SUV. Good to see you, Safa. We're going to get to our comments and questions very soon on YouTube. So today's focus is SUV, but to give you a quick update on what's going on in Canadian immigration, well, Alberta PNP has updated the program. The Alberta Opportunity stream is reopened, having specific draws for all of the PNPs in Alberta. So specific draw dates in Alberta based on their cap. So they are limiting things. It's not going to be a free-for-all. New Brunswick has paused their skilled worker stream. Nova Scotia is not inviting occupations in non-healthcare construction PNP candidates, although this is not posted on their website because it was just posted about hospitality, food and beverage. BC PNP is still impossible to obtain an invitation, and Manitoba is still struggling with a huge backlog. And of course, the caregiver program is now shut down, with a new program launching, which will be PR and arrival for caregivers. Now we have to see what will actually happen to the caregivers who are already working inside Canada, or if you were working on an open work permit as a caregiver inside Canada. A lot of details to be announced by the Canadian government. I can only give you one insight and tip about Canadian immigration PR programs and skilled workers. Go rural. This was your quick dose today on what's going on, and let's move on to startup visas. There's some critical updates. Okay, folks, this is where it becomes a bit sad. If you've noticed, I'm wearing all black today. It's intentional. There's a specific reason for this. This is in commemoration of all SUV PR applicants who are now under process. This is a sad day for all of us. This is something that no other social media channel, YouTube channel, newsletter, or article has announced or exposed yet, and we're the first to break this to you. The IRCC is sneaky. I'm sure you figured that out. They announced major changes on April 20, 2024 for the SUV program, and also did Q&A sessions with the designated organizations and told them they believe the SUV program is a good program. And they told the designated organization that this 10 SUV groups that they can endorse per year for each designated organization is a temporary measure to clear the backlog. Newsflash. The IRCC has a secret plan they implemented behind the scenes, and they didn't tell anyone about it because they don't trust anyone outside of their own payroll, of course. Here are the facts we know as of today. IRCC has created a special group of officers or assigned a specific officer, maybe with the team, maybe alone, who knows, a lone ranger, trained and experienced in business immigration to audit and relook at all the SUV PR applications under process who have not received their passport request letters yet. This team or officer is the K9 team, as we call them. It's way beyond the Terminators or the Minions we've been talking about over the past year. IRCC has officially released the hounds for all SUV PR cases. And now I'll tell you why you should care. Previously, if any SUV PR applicant received a pre-arrival letter, there was no further assessment or request for update from the officers on their PR cases for the startup visa. The applicants would typically receive a passport request letter, whether it would be a few weeks after, a few months after, depending if they were getting it processed in 2023 or early 2024. Now, this has all changed. Thanks to our audience members on YouTube, Safa Saleh for sharing his letter correspondences, Nikki Patel and Jacob M on some very interesting observations, and some of our other regular audience members, and a trend that has been detected with SUV PR processing. SUV groups who have received a pre-arrival letter from IRCC are now prone to another round of business questions and requests for update on their business. But this time, it's ugly. The K9 team is out for blood. That's the IRCC's new SUV division. So if you and your SUV group is waiting for a passport request letter, you could be in for a very, very big surprise. Instead of a passport request letter and your COPR, you could receive another round of questions on your business, which we're gonna cover in this next section. The SUV K9 team is asking these types of questions, and you can see the trend in the line of questioning. There's definitely a theme, and it doesn't take ChatGPT or a genius to figure out what's going on. Thanks again to Safa Saleh to share his correspondence and some of our partner networks in the SUV ecosystem who've shared some of these letters, from which we've compiled some very interesting questions or line of questioning from these letters in regards to SUV PR cases. Question for applicant: please provide a letter explaining how you came to know your consultant. Next question: were there any intermediaries involved in your startup visa process? How did you come to know these intermediaries? Question: who assisted you in completing the immigration application? Question: a review of your social media links for the startup business you provided do not seem to be in use. Question: how did the business idea came to fruition? And how did you meet your representative? How did you come to know of and contract your consultant? Do you have records of communication between yourself and the consultant? What was the consultant's process leading up to the submission of the application? What did you pay for? Brackets, immigration services, and so forth. When and how did you render these payments? Do you have proof of these payments? Question for SUV applicant: I have concerns regarding how the business idea came to fruition and how you met your investors. How did you meet your investor, and can you provide communication leading up to this agreement? Question for the SUV applicant. Why did you decide on this business idea in particular? These are just a few examples, folks. Line of questioning from the new SUV K9 team, which they're sending out to all SUV groups who are waiting for their final PR stages, but IRCC has backtracked. This means that IRCC has picked up on some information, we don't know from where, that perhaps some SUV groups are not genuine and has completely changed the SUV PR process behind the scenes without any announcements. All the groups waiting now for their PR need to be aware and prepared to answer these questions and provide ongoing proof of their business operations and intention to manage and run the startup inside Canada. We're now officially playing at another level with SUV. The IRCC has transformed its processing, and we're now in advanced round where only the strongest will survive. This is a message for all those SUV groups which have wishy-washy business plans, don't have business traction, and are clueless about their business concept, or perhaps don't have the right support. Be ready to rock and roll with this new SUV K9 team launched by the IRCC as of the recent changes. IRCC has officially declared war in secret on SUV consultants. I think we can all agree that 2024 is the year of conflict, war, and bad news. But there's always an upside, folks. If you know what to expect, can prepare in advance, and have the right support system, you can get still through this to your PR. It will be a shocker to many SUV groups who are expecting a passport request, but instead will receive a very harsh letter. Don't lose faith in the Canadian SUV program. All this means is that certain groups and service providers are being pushed out, and only the applicants who know what they're doing will survive. And this is a special message to IRCC SUV officers, including the Minions, the Terminators, and now the K9 team. Please refrain from accusing all SUV applicants and groups of being fake or being guilty until proven innocent. The simple truth is, what other federal PR programs exist as an option or even non-federal options? You have given us no options, and now you want to close the SUV door on many innocent applicants who have been either not supported or tricked by their consultants and service providers. Please reach down, deep down into your hearts and have some empathy, IRCC. I hope this information has equipped everyone to be mindful, alert, and proactive. There's a killer amongst us, the new SUV K9 team, and they could stop you in your tracks in your SUV journey. However, we hope they don't. And with this live stream, we hope you are now aware of what to expect and can prepare for it. Quick outro before we jump into our questions and comments, folks. If you're thinking about immigrating, whether permanent or temporary, you're at the right place. We just don't offer immigration. We offer solutions. I can guarantee only one point. That's it. I'll be there until the end. We should convert that to a song, maybe, meaning that immigration is not perfect. It can be slow, sometimes painful, lots of unexpected surprises with government policy changes and program updates like we've been covering. Can any airplane pilot, as an example, guarantee a perfect flight without any turbulence or shaking? Probably not. The same goes for immigration. What our commitment is to you is we will give you the good news and we'll give you the bad news and work with you to resolve any issues that may come up until you achieve the result you hired us for. We won't leave you stranded when it becomes a bit challenging. We're there until the end, no matter what. You are in full control of which program you choose for your immigration. We give you all the options you're eligible for, and then you are the decision maker. Does your local immigration agency offer you this? We have a $1 million liability insurance, which protects you and us from fraud or mistakes, as well as a dedicated client trust account with our Canadian financial institutions. Our team speaks over 10 languages. Yeah, that's true. And we've helped applicants from over 50 different countries during their immigration process. Click the link below this video and get a free email assessment for eligible applicants only. And if you're ready to apply or like a one-on-one session with me or one of my immigration team members at Ingwe, you can also book a session directly using the consultation link in the description of this video. And if you want to take our immigration knowledge for a test drive before you book the one-on-one with me or my team, then you can tune in to our weekly YouTube live stream where we answer all of your questions to the best of our ability for free on the spot. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified at what day of the week and what time, because it changes sometimes, when we'll be live. And yes, we're live now. We're going to our questions. If you're watching and you're behind the scenes, you're in that area where we can't see you, come on out and put a question or comment because we'd be happy to answer it. So Alma Maria Silver had a question about being pregnant and waiting for confirmation of PR. I did answer that in the chat in terms of if the COPRs have not been issued, please fill out the new family information forms as a new family member and add birth certificates and send it to IRCC for them to process your new family member. Nashwan Ali, hi Reza, what is your prediction for PR SUV processing times for people who applied in mid-2022, received a permanent file number in mid-2023, received a permanent file number in late 2023? Nashwan Ali, you should have a decision this year. Right now, there's a lot of changes with PR, so it depends if you're in a prioritized designated organization or not since April 20th. However, we do expect something will happen this year. We already have clients who received their PRs end of 2021 and first half 2022, just so you're aware. Safa Salah, hi Reza. Hi Safa. Pardeep Rati, lots of love from India. Ah, nice, thank you. Nashwan Ali, could you clarify the possible scenarios for the current 37-month PR SUV processing time? The scenarios are this. Priority organizations who have endorsed those groups will be processed faster. The other people will be pushed back slower. There's more due diligence, which is happening now with SUV PR processing by the IRCC K19. Safa, hello Reza. If you have additional details about the PFL by IRCC under SUV, could you provide further elaboration? No problem, Safa. I think we've covered some points today in our live stream. Nashwan Ali says 18 months to receive the permanent file number, followed by 18 months for communication with the applicant sending request and final decision. 24 months to receive the permanent file number, followed by 12 months for communication. Which scenario is more realistic? There's no fixed rule, Nashwan Ali. It's not like they actually have like a processing timeline. It doesn't exist. They can do whatever they want. Okay. You have groups that it takes 3.5 years or a little bit more. You have groups that took 15 to 18 months. Okay. There's no fixed format. It's very random. And now with the changes, it's changing again. So anything we knew, Nashwan Ali, from last year or the year before is not relevant as of today. Okay. All of our minds should be reset in terms of SUV going forward from April 20th onwards. Safa says, although I understand the work permit process pauses until a decision is made on the PR, I received a work permit rejection for the third time while in the PFL process. What does this indicate? Safa, it could indicate nothing, and it could indicate that since they're seeing that there's a PFL, they don't want to issue you a work permit to come to Canada. So you have an opportunity maybe to switch around programs in case you get refused. So it seems more intentional at this point, Safa. Has anyone received a work permit rejection and then later obtained a COPR? It seems impossible to me. Well, Safa, right now, yes, people get work permit refusals, then they get them approved or they get a COPR. Yes, there have been cases. However, having a PFL, no. I would say that if you've received at least one refusal or more and you're still under process for a work permit and then see a PFL on your PR case, it is very unlikely to get a work permit approval at this point. Not impossible, but definitely 90% unlikely. Safa says, my children's study visa rejections came 10 days before my wife and I received a work permit rejection. Does that make sense? it's fine. It's random. They're all refused. They were all dependent on you anyway. So don't read too much into that. Is ATIP, access to information private, a good option for now? Well, you do have to. It's standard operating procedure. It's best practice, SAFA. No matter what the refusal is, you should ATIP it, request a global case management system notes on your case to see, obviously if it was linked to the PFL or whatnot. They may not write about it, but it sounds like that you're at a PFL stage where they don't want to let you into Canada. Alma Maria Silva, hi Reza, I'm on an SUV application process and my wife's pregnant. Can you please share with me what is the process for newborn? Yes, Alma, we covered that. I put in some chat notes in the chat. Basically, if they're not born yet and you don't have your COPR, you will fill out the additional family information. You will fill out also a new generic PR form for your newborn baby. You will add birth certificates, and then you will write an explanation letter, and then you will send that to the IRCC, whether the embassy or through the web form or the link directly to the officer, depending if you're already in communication with them. Okay. Real boxing. Hello, Reza. I have a friend who was refused visa on grounds of misrepresentation. Now she's applying for SUV. What are the chances of approval? Will misrepresentation affect her application? 8% potentially can, yes. It depends how serious this misrep is, but it can be overcome. It can be overcome. It depends. So please do an ATIP. Real boxing, that means request an Access to Information Privacy Act request to IRCC to see what the misrep was and what the logic of the officer was. Was it misunderstanding? Was it a mistake? What happened? Because you don't want there to be a ban. If there's a ban, you can't even apply for any other program, including SUV. Miss Ghana Elumu, they rejected me applying visitor visa. They reject me. Yeah, I don't know the context of the question. You can write it. M. Jacob, good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. New fear unlocked. K19 Bloodhounds. K9. It's the K9 Bloodhounds. They've released the hounds and they didn't tell anyone. And I appreciate you, Nikki, Safa, all our regular audience members who brought this to light. So it was just various things that happened. So the pausing of the passport request, some nasty procedural fairness letters and requests for update. And we even had a group that had a pre-arrival letter, all co-founders, all four. And suddenly, instead of a passport request, what do they get? They get an IRCC request for update, personal and business, more in depth. So this is a fact, folks. It's not fiction. It's not theory. And definitely this is not a conspiracy YouTube channel. This is reality. But you know how it is in Canada. They like to make it look rosy on the surface, and then they twist you around underneath, right? Martha Wahoo. My husband is in Lethbridge, Ontario, SOWP, spousal open work permit. 50 years old, working as a mainline assembler full-time. Which category would be fit to apply for PR, and how many months can they qualify? I'm not sure about that occupation, Martha, but have a look at the in-demand skills of the PNP. I'm not sure exactly that title is included, but you have to look at the duties and match it to one of the National Occupation Classification codes to see if the OINP, the Ontario Provincial Nominee Program, has that in their in-demand skills. If not, they have to look at the foreign skilled worker stream, which is open to most occupations, but again, they have occupation-specific draws. And depending on what skill level it is, you can be looking at some other programs. But I would need more details, and I won't be able to give you exact details right now because I don't know what that NOC code is at the moment. Rosita says, Buenos Aires, Reza June. Thank you, Rosita. M. Jacob says, we see a new trend of work permit rejections under SUV program. It's always been there, M. Jacob. I'm not too concerned about that. What Safa said about the PFL, the procedural fairness, and being refused right after, that makes sense. They don't want somebody with a PFL, procedural fairness letter, who may get refused to enter Canada with a work permit. But we've had cases where there was no PFL and the PR was under process, And the work permit may have been refused 2-3 times, but we did get it approved. So the refusal of work permit trend has been there for a while, MJ. Nashvan Ali, if someone had a 1 or 2.5 hour consultation meeting with immigration consultants in the past, can that be considered as specific consultations related to the SUV application that someone could mention if IRCC asks about consultations you mentioned today? Yes, it depends if you hired that person and they're your legal representative, right? So they are now doubting that consultants are pretty much giving everything to the applicants, business concept, progress, whatever. And I hope IRCC is listening, because sure, there's some bad apples amongst us, but not everyone's a bad apple. Not everyone is guilty until proven innocent. If Trump became Prime Minister of Canada, he would revamp the IRCC completely. I'm just joking. Of course not. We don't want somebody from the US to come and change our immigration rules, right? But right now they're pretty bad already, right? I think everyone agrees. Okay. Opinderbrit Singh, does the rule of prioritizing PR applications apply to existing startups by raising funding from designated investors? So there's only specific prioritization, Opinderbrit. It's prioritize incubators, venture capital, or angel investors who are designated for the SUV, plus any incubators who have committed capital already to your startup. Like, it's actually like committed, it's there. And it should not come from the investors or applicants themselves. Ronaldo Alo, hi Reza, hello Ronaldo. Opinderbrit, if you have a funding offer from US-based VC fund, will our application be prioritized by IRCC? No, it will not be, but you will have a very high chance of approval. We do have clients who have received VC funding from outside Canada, and it just makes it look more legitimate. It makes it look more genuine. Nikki Patel, hello Reza, how many chances to get PPR after receiving PAL, because we are about to complete our 37th month? Nikki, with the changes that have gone on, I cannot say anymore. If this was last year, I would say you're good to go, and you should have received your passport request letter by now. But now with the new K9 SUV team that the IRCC has released on everyone without prior notice, anything can happen. Do not stop your business progress. Do not stop working on your business development, agreements with customers, pilot projects, collaboration, research development, patent strategies. Don't forget all that. Safa says, it might be helpful to advise about any alternative programs if you get an SUV refusal, not necessary Canada. You're right, Safa. I was thinking about the same thing. So we do Portugal startup visa. Very good. Within 3 months, you get your residency. It's beautiful. I mean, my God, why is Canada making it so difficult, right? It's a bad reputation for Canada in general. It looks bad. We like the Portugal startup visa program. Of course, a lot of countries like Spain and even UK has the innovator visa. But in terms of high approval rate, quick in, and permanent residency, we like the Portugal program the best out of all the programs that exist in Middle East and Europe and South and Central and North America. There's a program in Netherlands too. We do that too. It's pretty good. But I'm not sure if you prefer the Netherlands or Portugal. Portugal, there's not very business oriented as much. Netherlands are very business oriented, but the language and the lifestyle in Portugal is very relaxed. The food is great. The people are amazing. The weather is nice. Netherlands is more, it's more of a metropolitan place. And, it's Northern Europe versus South Mediterranean area. So the difference. But the US is a very difficult startup visa program, which I don't recommend. But, in terms of the Western world, my picks are Portugal. If you do want to go UK, it's if you have UK family and all that, and you really want to do a startup in UK, it's fine. We do that also. But I would say, and then it's Canada, which is kind of a messy road right now. And Nikki Patel, yet waiting and not getting any idea about the future because we don't do anything new in our home country and not in Canada without a visa. feeling like we're stuck in this program. Nikki, you're right, but it's coming to an end. Like you're there almost. So you're either going to get the K9s coming at you hardcore, or potentially they'll be lightweight with you. But I do have a theory, but we're still waiting for validation, that the designated organization or the consultants who are representing could trigger a more vicious reaction by the K9 team. But this is a theory in progress. It's a hypothesis. We're still waiting for validation. This is all very new stuff, folks. This is literally since March onwards, things have been changing. And now we're seeing the changes. So over the next 3-4 months, we'll know more. And of course, we'll keep you updated. M. Jacob submitted PR in October 2022. Passport PAL received February 2024. How long to wait as per experience? Prior DDO. No, I mean, if you have the PAL, and you could go either way, M. Jacob, right? If depending on who's representing, how genuine your startup is, how many different nationalities you have, where you're applying from, they could send the K9 team after you, or they could send you along your way for your PR. Right now, nobody knows. Everything we knew about startup visa before has changed. You've got to press the reset button. Everything is wiped out. Nothing we know of the last 10 years when SUV has been active, this program, is relevant at this point going forward. We are back to kindergarten. We're back to grade 1. We're learning again. Nothing we know, even in the last 6 months or 12 or 18 months, is relevant anymore. Everything is new. We're back to square one. You know that game, the snakes and ladders? That's kind of how I feel like. Opinderpret Singh. So you just LOI from investors will be enough. And let's say if someone has joined Angel Group in Canada and ready to invest in our startup, will that also be considered? Unless they are designated and listed on the startup visa webpage of Opinderpret, it will not be prioritized. However, it can help the genuineness of your SUV PR case that external investors are investing. It can, obviously, not a lot of startups have that. Tamsanko Dube, hi Reza. For the Alberta Opportunity stream, is a job offer a requirement? Yes, you should be working already inside Alberta for Opportunity stream. You should already have a work permit. Known under Alberta PNP, a job offer is not a good requirement, but I'm not sure when it comes to the other routes. Yeah, PNP Alberta is all job offers except right now, even if you read on the family ties that there's you don't need a job offer, you'll end up needing a job offer, or you should be working. It's just the entrepreneur programs, the startup visa provincial program. Those are the ones where you don't need to be hired by existing Alberta employer. Suleiman Qureshi, hi Mr. Reza, thank you for the informative videos. How long it takes to get open work permit after processing Ontario business investment? An open work permit, it doesn't exist, Suleiman. So we don't have an Ontario provincial entrepreneur program, and if you're talking about a federal investor self-employed entrepreneur program, which is LMIA exempt, those are not open work permits. So I'm not sure what the question is. You can clarify. I'll be happy to answer. Nikki Patel, IRCC processing fraud LMIA very faster or false LMIA and not giving a chance to genuine entrepreneurs. I'll tell you this, Nikki. You're right, but Service Canada is processing that, not IRCC. So two different government departments that are, in different sectors. So that's the difference. IRCC is now really going hardcore after SUV. Service Canada is really tightening up on LMIs as well, but obviously, it's a different breed. It's a different program. It's internal. They're dealing with local employers. And it's Service Canada. It's not IRCC. IRCC just does the work permit after you get the LMI, or does the express entry, let's say. Safa Salah, thanks, Reza. Really appreciate it. No problem, Safa. I mean, those are my thoughts. I'm not a big believer in other startup programs, but again, it doesn't have to be a startup. Like I like Panama right now. We've launched our Panama program. You don't need a startup. You just invest in real estate. And in 6 weeks, you get a residency. No questions asked. And in 5 years of citizenship, and you only spend 1 day in every 2 years. How easy is that, right? And Portugal is good, right? You do need to take a language or cultural exam or like a course, a 6 month, I think it's 150 hours at the end when you want to gain your citizenship, which is fine, right? So obviously every program has its differences, but the Canadian side is becoming difficult, folks. If you consider Canada and other programs in countries, we do other countries, and we're promoting that even more now, just so everyone knows. We're doing the EB5 US, Greece, Portugal, Spain, UK, New Zealand, Dubai, Panama, just to name a few. And we recently also launching some other countries as well. Neil Patel says, LMIA processing times are taking too long. As I applied in January for PR support only, and my employer has received no updates, any updates. So Neil, can you let us know if your employer is in Alberta? Because that's the only place where I see that LMIAs are stuck since December and January. Everywhere else is being processed. Neil, tell me yes or no, your employer is in Alberta. Because December, January is when all the LMIAs, those 2 months, are stuck. So if you applied in March, you would have gotten it by now in the LMI in Alberta. But in January and December, for some reason, I think somebody pressed the delete button in Service Canada and all the LMI applications were probably corrupted or wiped out. And they're not telling us this because you know what it is with our Canadian government. It's always a black box. Oh, in BC. So they had their employer registration, foreign recruitment license, which took 3 months, right, Neil? And then they applied. Well, it's too long. You know, just so you're aware, if 6 months passes, so June 23, you can call, or the employer can call and to escalate the case. Because if 6 months has passed and no decision or no officers have been assigned, no communication, they can escalate it. So in 18 days, 17 days, your employer has to push that through ASAP. Okay, because that's unusual for BC. We've had BC cases. It's a PR supported LMI, right? But the thing is, with PR supported LMIs, they're done on a federal level, not provincial. So they're spread out. But federal takes around 5 months. PR supported takes around 5 months, Neil. So it's not that unusual. Okay, with LMIs, low wage, high wage in BC, we're getting them pretty fast. But again, federal PR supported LMIs are done federally through Service Canada's main. It's a different department. Nikki Patel, your work is appreciated. We always get a satisfactory answer for your questions. Thank you so much. No problem, Nikki Patel. I do my best. I mean, not everyone knows everything, but I mean, we got to try. And IRCC really depends on us not talking to each other. The immigration world, the startup ecosystem, applicants, agencies, lawyers, because a lot of them don't, even designated organizations. Not a lot of them talk to each other. So, and IRCC is betting on that to make sure they can do whatever they want, and nobody really knows what they're doing. But when you put all of it into one basket and you look at it, you're like, whoa, something's going on. It's like a pattern, a trend. Neil says, okay, thank you so much. Yeah, only PR supporting, no work permit attached. That's fine. 5 months is very normal, Neil, for PR supported. That's normal. And Jacob, thank you, Reza, for the great moral support. No problem. And Jacob, be ready, folks. SUV K9 team is coming after you. I hope not, but they're even coming after our groups. But you got to be ready. Either hold a little biscuit or a hammer and hammer them down. Okay, folks? Thank you for joining us today. We had a quicker, short session, but we'll be back next week, and we're going to have more juicy content on SUV because every week we get new letters, new questions, new updates, new gossip, plus alternatives to Canadian startup visa or Canada in general. I'm telling you, it's not Canada is not the only option for immigration, folks. You got to start expanding your horizons. But we're good to go. Thank you for joining us. M. Jacob, Neil, Nikki Patel, Safa Saleh, Suleiman Qureshi, Opinder Preet. Good luck with your startup. Nashvan Ali, Rosita, of course, Miss Ghana Lemu, Real Boxing, Alma Maria Silva, and everyone else like Pardeep Rathi who've joined us today. Thank you again. Take care and be ready. They're coming for you. And of course, Fufu and Tamsanka Dube. Thank you. Take care, folks. Bye-bye. See you next week.